Good afternoon, everyone. It's Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple, and welcome to this week's Nadex Weekly Market Analysis. It is May 18th. We are rolling through and already, on the other side of May. What they say, those, what is it? April showers bring May flowers. All I know, I don't have any flowers yet, but I got pollen everywhere. So I don't know if you guys are with me on this one. With the, I'm over pollen already. We're 18 days into pollen month. So anyway, some decent movement in the last 24 hours in the market, and some pretty interesting really kind of headlines out there with what we're seeing. Some of the kind of I guess talk tracks we've used in the last couple weeks about pound strength, CAD strength, dollar weakness. The Fed is kind of got blinders on. Recovery from COVID-19, vaccination rollout. So there's been a lot going on and a lot of stuff that we've been able to trade lately. So we'll dive right into things today, and we'll see what type of opportunities we can uncover. So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm the president and CEO of Keep Trading Simple. I've been working with Nadex now for I don't know, about 3, 4 years. I have done all kinds of things for him. I've written articles for him. I've done educational events and summits. I've done weekly broadcasts for a long time. I do the morning sessions. If you guys are not catching Todd and I, we are broadcasting live every morning from 8:45 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nadex's YouTube page. So if you guys are not following that, make sure you guys go out there and go do that. All you got to do is just go to YouTube, search Nadex, go to their page, hit subscribe. It doesn't cost anything; it's free, and then hit the bell for the notification. And whenever we go live, you'll get a notification actually coming right to your desktop, so you'll know. And what we do is we look at like the we typically try to leave it to two, but we try to find the hottest opportunities of the day for potential setups for you guys. So, where this presentation is more based off of kind of weekly and kind of setting your trades for the week, that one is basically what's hot in the morning every day. So, if you're not catching it, make sure you do. We have a lot of fun on that one. So, um, so for those of you who don't know, like I said, most of you have been around, and I appreciate you guys coming back every week. We always get a couple new people, and I love having the new ones out there. I definitely I get emails from them all the time asking additional questions, which I'm totally fine with. Um, I'm a price action based trader, so you're not going to see MACD and fibs everywhere and RSI and 8 million other indicators. I just don't use that on my charts. I'm very much a candlestick reader, not so much patterns, but understanding supply and demand. You guys will see horizontal boxes on my screen. It's areas of buying and selling. I am an if this then that trader. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not sitting over here. I can't say what's going to happen in the next 15 minutes. There's no way to know that. Anybody that says that they do, you should run. But no, I'm very much an if this then that. I focus a lot on money management, position sizing, and again, really, you know, using technology for what it is. All right. So with that said, let's go into the Nadex risk disclaimer because again, obviously we're talking charts. We got to make sure that we bring this up as well. But trading on Nadex involves risk and may not be appropriate for all. Members risk losing the cost at another transaction, including fees. Now, you should carefully consider whether trading on Nadex is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. Now, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. None of the material presented herein is to be construed as a solicitation, recommendation, or offer to buy or sell any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Nadex is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the CFTC, and Nadex is a registered trademark of the IG Group. So here's our agenda for today, and again, I like to keep it this way. As you guys know, I am definitely I've done a number of different strategies that you can use Nadex with. I absolutely love news. I am just I don't know. I'm just not one of those people that wants to spend 18 hours a day sitting here staring at a computer when there's much better things to do. You guys will hear that. You guys will see Jen in that picture. I have two other older boys. I have another little one on the way. I like doing other things with my day. So I love news trading. So I want to make sure that we cover the updated, really the upcoming news events for the rest of the week. There are some pretty big ones out there. And again, the reason I like them and the reason I feel everybody should focus on them is because it provides catalyst to move the market. Not that the market wouldn't have moved anyway, but why follow a trade for 8, 12 hours when I could do the same exact thing in 30 minutes? It just, in my eyes, I'd much rather spend the 30 minutes than the 8 hours. I feel like there's, it's opportunity cost, right? So after we do that, we go look and we will look at the news. We'll jump over and look to see where the indices are currently. Um, you know, Basically where the opportunity exists for the rest of the week, levels that you need to watch out for. Obviously at noon on a Tuesday, a lot of the movement has happened today. There may be, again, there tends to be an end of the day kind of burst or they're up or down. We'll see what that looks like and if there's opportunity today. But if not, I'll give you kind of the rest of the week. Then we'll look at Forex. Now, Forex has definitely been a market that's been crazy. Obviously, COVID-19 is not a one nation issue. It is a pandemic. All economies in the world are at some stage of recovery. There's been a lot of opportunity. There was a lot of opportunity in the last 24 hours with the pound. The CAD is also seeing great, recovery. So a lot of opportunity out in the currency market. So we're going to go ahead and cover that and see what opportunities and really what news events the rest of the week kind of fall into that. And then last but not least, commodities. We're not going to cover all of them, but we will cover gold, oil, and silver. There are other ones out there as well. Natural gas was a monster mover on Monday. I don't personally trade natural gas often, if at all, but I do look at the charts. I do kind of keep it up there on my radar. And again, my analysis, what I do with the S&P 500 or with the euro dollar or with oil, it can be done no matter what chart there is. Okay, so it's one of those things as well. It's not just a specific strategy for a specific this. The way that I analyze charts, it works for all of them. And again, that's why I can look at indices and do it. That's why I can do forex. That's why I can do commodities, even natural gas. It's basically if there's buyers and sellers, the style of trading that I use works for all of them. Okay. So with that said, let's go right into the news. Let me see. Can I find the right window here? Pop this and let's go across. So I'll just pop this down for. We'll do it this way. All right. So today, obviously at 10 o'clock this morning, we had Bailey speaking. The pound dollar was up 100 and what, like I think it was like 120, 130, something like that. It was up big earlier this morning. Now it's only up 54 pips in the last 24 hours. Now, it doesn't look like there's a ton, and again, it has pulled down in the last 60 minutes, but a lot of that is just obviously time rolling through as well. Besides that, for the most part, I mean, a lot of this is starting to get flat. The euro pound is more or less flat. The Aussie dollar was, again, this was up big. Dollar CAD, same way, but we've had retracements. And again, you have to expect that in the currency market. When something goes down for many, many hours, there's something called profit taking. Okay. Dollar Swiss still down, and you can see it's all green, right? Profit taking happens after we've had normally one, extended session. That session basically means that, hey, listen, for one specific 8-hour block when one session was open, whether it be the UK or the US or even the Asian session, after you've made a bunch of money in that one, typically what happens is people close their positions, which means they have to take the opposite of them. When you take the opposite, obviously it changes the price around and it moves, right? Sorry guys, the dog just slammed the door open. I don't know if you guys heard the thump, but the girl will probably be running in a second. But obviously profit taking is happening today. At 11 o'clock, Jordan spoke. Really nothing a whole lot out of it that we needed to worry about. It may take a long time for, Challenger to the space to, United States. So basically, this is a panel with the S&B chairman. He basically is saying, hey, listen, the dollar's here. Yes, the dollar's at risk. The dollar's threatened, but it's probably going to take a while for that to happen. There's actually been a couple articles about replacing the U.S. dollar. It is China's mission, and they have partnered with Russia now to remove the U.S. dollar and having that economic control. So it's something that, you got to keep our eyes on. And a lot of it's going to come down to who does digital right. We are not going to be first. We've already said we won't be first. And China right now is currently giving the guidelines for countries right now. So, it's one of those things. If we're going to get replaced, I don't know. They're leading the charge right now to end up removing us as the leader, which will cause many problems for us. Going into tomorrow. So tomorrow, Wednesday, is kind of it typically is the busy day, right? We start off tomorrow morning early. And again, you may not be a currency trader. You may not want to wake up early or stay up late. But pound CPI is important year over year because CPI is a gauge of inflation. And again, that's what drives gold hawks crazy, right? With all these low interest rates, inflation is one of those things that we really want to focus on. And again, the pound is recovering well. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if this is slightly higher than 1.5. We are seeing massive amounts of inflation in the United States, and the pound is farther ahead than we are. This could actually, and again, when the inflation is high, the way you can control it is raising interest rates, which makes a currency's value higher. Okay, so if this number comes in at, say, a 1.6, 1.7 tomorrow morning at the European Open, the pound US and pound yen will probably both be spiking up probably about 50 to 60 pips, maybe even more, depending on if we miss to the top side. If it misses, I wouldn't say it does too much. Like I said, it really depends on how much it's going to miss. But again, there's a great opportunity right there. We have the ECB financial stability review, and Europe is a little bit behind. There's just so many nations involved with it. I think all it can provide is negative. I don't think it can provide anything positive. Then we have CAD CPI, and again, CAD numbers have been great. It's supposed to be lower than expected. And again, at point two, that's not really a whole lot, right? But if it comes in at like say a point 0.4, point 0.5, and it's a surprise to the top side, bam, there is a lot more CAD strength coming in, and we know that they're a little bit ahead. They've already talked about tapering and things like that. 10:30, we go right into crude oil inventories. Now, there's expected to be a surplus this week. Basically, not a surplus, but like I said, a surplus, but 1.5 million barrels more than what we had last week sitting in storage. So it's one of those things. The inventory is going up, not necessarily the best thing for oil, but again, at the same time, there's a lot of things going on. Not that it's oil producing countries, but there's a lot of rockets flying and the Iron Dome system and all kinds of other stuff going on in the Middle East, um, which will keep that number inflated a little bit as well. And again, we had gasoline shortages. Gasoline is different than crude oil, but people, it's just a perception, and unfortunately, perception is reality. Now, 2 o'clock tomorrow, we have FOMC meeting notes. Okay, there's always kind of that not knowing when we have FOMC out there. FOMC tomorrow should be interesting because we finally have a break in the Fed. And when I say a break, Kaplan is out there, and I think Kaplan is making a move. I think Kaplan wants to take over. I think he wants to be the next leader of the Fed. He's kind of the first one to say, "Hey, listen, I'm in favor of taping earlier than expected." We are seeing inflation, right? Retail sales was down, but we're seeing inflation from everybody out there except the Fed. Okay. At some point, the FOMC has to acknowledge that we're seeing inflation, that we may need to start talking about tapering, maybe not at the interest rate level yet, but some type of support needs to be removed, right? We're seeing states do it with unemployment, and they just refuse to acknowledge. They say anything we see, it's going to disappear. We're not out of the woods yet, and the economy is going to run hot. Now, is it a political thing? It could be, right? And Kaplan is not on that board. The Fed used to be completely kind of separate, right? It had its own opinions, it did its own thing, but unfortunately now, um, yeah, it's almost becoming more of a political body. But FOMC tomorrow has the potential for some fireworks, so we need to be cautious with that. Now, tomorrow night, we have the Aussie dollar coming in with their employment change and unemployment rates. This is one of my favorite trades of the week. I absolutely love this one. It's late at night. I always get those people, hey, listen, I work a 9 to 5 job. Can I trade? Yeah, absolutely. Do it at night, right? They're like, I know nothing about currencies. It's no different than anything else. Know that we have a news release. Know that we have a catalyst. Look at your levels of buyers and sellers and trade it just like that. Now, their unemployment rate is not expected to change. Their unemployment change is supposed to be an addition of 20,000 jobs. Again, there's not a whole lot going on at night, so that's why these tend to be good releases. But there's some great trading opportunities, so that'll be a good one. The New Zealand numbers really won't affect too much. It's just much, much later. Now, Thursday, we have the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. Again, it's forecasted 41. And again, you don't need to be an economist to understand all these things. But, anything above, zero indicates improving conditions. So it's still good, right? It's still good. It's less than what it was before. Um, it is what it is, right? I think more will be going back to unemployment claims now that they're talking about revoking unemployment, and not having the $300 from the government there. It's you know it's a number that we need to watch. It could definitely craft the indices up and down, depending on if it's a miss or it's not a miss. I do know one of the fathers on my son's lacrosse team. He was saying he runs a couple different restaurants, and he said it's extremely hard to find people to work right now, particularly in the service industry, and he blames it directly on the Fed, or not the Fed, the government, right? When their unemployment is $240 a week and they're getting an additional $300 from the government, that's more than they make working for his restaurant, so as a server. So it's kind of hard to get people to come back, and he says it's really crushing businesses right now that people are interested in working. So the unemployment claims number is starting to become more and more of something to watch and more apparent. And again, do I expect it to be a huge difference from the 453? Probably not, right? um, there'll be less people trying to go for unemployment benefits now that they're talking about cutting back. And then we have Macklin speaking. And again, we know what's going on with the dollar CAD. Thursday night, retail sales, again, another big number. Expect to be lesser, but again, this one comes in higher. It's always a good, again, 9:30 p.m. at night, Aussie dollar trades. Retail sales is one of the big five, and really one of the big three. So again, another great trading opportunity. Friday. Friday's packed with our flash services and flash manufacturing PMI. Slightly gauge of inflation. All the forecasts this week, though, are expected to be above 50. You can see last time we came in, we had some 49. We had this 49 in here. We had this 50 that was pretty close. 50.5 here. Everybody's supposed to show recovery. The big one to watch again, we have the retail sales first thing in the morning, and again, great trade setup at the UK Open, followed by all the flash data. Again, we have the European-based number coming in at 4 the pound, and then we have you know ECB Prez speaking at 7 o'clock in the morning, followed by CAD core retail sales and retail sales numbers, and then our manufacturing. So quite a bit of data there on Friday. Um, I would say everything's expected to be positive. I would say the most at risk here is probably the euro. If you guys trade the euro dollar, Germany is the big linchpin, and again, having that one go above 50 is helpful. But see the manufacturing go down. Germany, if you guys didn't know, was affected by the third wave of COVID, so that's kind of the one issue. But I think any of these on Friday, and again, particularly this one right here, if you know retail sales is expected to be much lower, and last time actually when you looked at it, their forecast was 4, they came in at 4.8. It's expected to be 2.3. If that comes in at like 3, that could be a really big boom for the CAD. And again, maybe you're not a currency trader, but what I'm saying is it's an 8:30 release. The US trader technically hasn't come online yet, right? We've had great data out of the CAD. If we've pushed into a level pre news release, this could be a pretty decent opportunity, right? And it's one of those ones because depending on which direction it had moved in prior to that. Again, it's Friday, so I don't know right now. It could be a binary, it could be a call spread, or it could even be a knockout, right? So there's a lot of different options for that retail sales number. And again, retail sales is one of the big news releases out there. And they had a heck of a beat last time, and it's supposed to be less. So again, coming in at a positive 3 could be really, really good. Coming in at a 1 could also be pretty bad for the CAD. Like I said, it's been going like gangbusters lately, and yeah. So again, that's nice little setup on Friday morning, and then followed by our manufacturing. Our flash manufacturing numbers doesn't really technically change too much. Um, I'd be looking more for some type of a feel good Friday, especially with all the talk that we've had lately. Okay. All right, let's jump right into the charts now. Let's go across and we'll look at this one right here. Let me click something right there. All right. Hold on one sec, guys. All right. So let's not start with this one. Let's start with the indices. I was like, wait, why? This is not what I'm looking at. All right. So here's the ES. So here's kind of this, as you guys know. So I should probably come up with a slide that shows kind of what the different colors mean and what the arrows and things like that mean. Like what's it called? Like not like a compass rose because that really shows direction, but kind of like a key, right? A key for everything. Basically, I use these black arrows. I use them for session opens. Okay. And we talk about good trading opportunities. This is a level we had marked off for a while. It's been up there since what, like May 10th, right? Over a week at this point. We talked about 41.78, and from the European Open down, it's been basically nothing but flat, right? Or just you know, from the open, it's been just straight down. We talked about profit targets down here at 41.36, and I still think that's a valid level. It did have some issues, and there's some wicks back here around 2, 3 o'clock yesterday. Those levels were formed. I still like this one negative, and typically, most of the movement in the indices is you're typically grabbing it in the first 2 hours, and like the last hour is where you can really pull it from, and then it just grinds. But right now, I would say it's starting to settle out. I would keep this 41.78 on my radar for the rest of the week. Again, it's touched it a few times. Is it the freshest level? No, but it's really been unable to like really pierce into this thing at all, showing that sellers are stepping in very, very fast at that level. So, you know, it could be one of these areas where, again, this is just completely hypothetical, but from now till, tomorrow afternoon, what if we start to kind of gain back again, right? And then all of a sudden, we have the European Open, and maybe the European Open helps it and it extends out, and now all of a sudden we put ourselves right there tomorrow. Okay. That's when the FOMC notes come out. What if tomorrow is the day that the FOMC finally says, yeah, we're looking at plans to start tapering, which again, tapering and raising interest rates is bad for the indices. Okay. What could that mean? That could mean a possible short trade setup tomorrow if we are sitting up back in that level again where sellers have stepped in already before the FOMC release tomorrow. So it's one of those things. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know if this, then that. If price is able to rally up from the rest of today into the through the European session, and again, maybe we have another European session drop back down again, and maybe we have the opposite option. But right now that's kind of where I'm leaning. If we get up to 41.70, I'm looking to short. Areas I'd be looking to buy is probably down here in the 41.08 to 48.99 level. That's really kind of the last part we've had anything tested. We got a few little levels in here, nothing super clean. Um, I would say the 40.75 or 40.74, and probably even a bit lower, probably down in here, the 40.47. That's 100 points down. If we have a 100-point day in the next 24 hours, something happened pretty bad. Then I'd be looking for a parabolic retracement move. So, that's kind of where we're at with the ES with trading opportunities. And again, you know, I get asked this all the time. Um, I do answer emails when I get them. Sometimes it does take me a day or two to get back, depending on what's going on. But I get a lot of questions. I mentioned call spreads. I mentioned knockouts. I always have these people like, well, why would you use one over the other one? There are different reasons to use each of them. One of the things about this level, and it's important to know, when you're looking and kind of doing your homework for the rest of the week, you got to know where the knockouts are. It's a great conversation to say, hey, I love using a knockout over there. It's wonderful. But if it's not within the range, it just doesn't do you any good, right? So, I mean, currently right now, if you're looking at ES knockouts, it's at 185, 175, 165. So, being at 178, we're kind of in the middle. There is one at 41.85, which puts us right there. So, right, yeah, 41.85. Oh, I had it flat right there, right? So this is one of those opportunities where I'd say, hey, listen, I got a knockout. There's where it gets broken if it goes above that. If price rallies its way back into there before FOMC, could that potentially be a way to play this, which lowers my risk? It does, right? If it goes above, I get knocked out. If it goes straight down, again, we you play it from there. Now, is it ideal for a news release? Maybe, maybe not. Typically I like a call spread because you don't have to worry about whipsaw back and forth because you're covered. It doesn't have that knockout piece. But again, if you have very small risk, it could just as easily go boom all the way down and all the way right back up again. It could be something like this, right? Where it whips down, whips back up again, and you could have got your 3-to-1 almost instantaneously. So there are benefits to it, but that's the ES. All right. NQ, we talked about it being negative. And again, we were sitting kind of over in here, and it did. It dropped back down, and it came back up again, and it dropped back down again. It's having some issues. Here's the European session. It looks like most of the movement was there. Right now it's up slightly, right? But I wouldn't say there's crazy movement in here. For me, right now, I'm really waiting for this one to come back down to be able to get any type of long scenario in this one. You can see that sellers are starting to really step in, and it's starting to kind of form a channel here. And we pushed down, and it turned exactly where you would expect it to turn. I mean, this is an area of basing, so it popped up and came through. The next attempt down, I would say there's probably, let me see, I'll drop down to a 15 and see if I can box it off a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, you can see that we have this right there. And again, we're boxing off this piece. That's what it ran into. And there's another smaller one down here. But I would say in the next run down, I'd be looking for some type of a break, some type of a confirmation push lower. And again, there are some buyers sitting down here at 13,207. I'm not looking for any type of a strong buy until we get down to 13,165 or even a little bit lower. I'd kind of like that. But just know that we've had sellers step in up here. And again, there was your European open. And again, here's your 1030 reversal, right? Here's your 930 open. Went right back up, 1030, ran right into that trend line, areas of sellers, and then continued to push down. But is this one making major moves today? Not really. Not really. And if you think about it, what would be the catalyst today for major movement? Answer is we really don't have any, right? Now with FOMC, that's a major catalyst for tomorrow. So I'd watch for that level. And again, pulling this back up to 30 minutes, talking about levels that we need to watch out for. Again, obviously, this is the refined area. I say 1340 is definitely an area where sellers have turned. We could probably shrink that a little bit as well and make it actually a little bit higher. Um, I, do I like the 13,165? It's okay. It was tested here on the 30-minute and gave a pretty good, nice bounce. That's decent. The one a little bit lower, the 13,040, it's kind of chopped through, and you can see it likes that area a lot. It went sideways, pulled up, pulled down, pulled up, pulled down. Use it again. Is it the ideal opportunity to take a long? Not really. I think the next super clean level is going to be down here. And again, we got quite a bit to go for that one. You can see that we have a tested level up top as well, if FOMC comes to that. as well as a little hidden level right above that was a violeted zone before, which it may actually be an area for us to go long from. So those are kind of these are kind of the levels for the NQ that I think we need to watch out for. And again, any of these really could probably kick in. We'll see where we go after the end of the day, and then we can kind of plan for tomorrow. Now, YM just literally took a bounce. Here's again the European Open, pulled down, pulled right back. Here's where your opening print came down, pulled it, grabbed it, and went lower, went right. I mean, it literally went right past where we talked about our profit target being for that short. Now we're kind of flattening. The candles are getting smaller on the 30 minutes. So I would say in this one, and again, if we wanted to get a little more conservative, we could drop it right there. Let's bring this down. I would say overall for today, my target to the downside is still that 34,000 number. I do feel that 34,000 is going to be a big psychological number. Anytime you have multiple zeros, it's something that a lot of people focus on. Now, are we willing to take a long or a short out of there? It is in the top. I do like it for a short. I don't like that there's a whole bunch of buyers sitting right below it. Right? We got buyers here, buyers here, buyers here, buyers here, buyers here, and we got this little sawtooth bit. I do like that we had the racetrack lower. So one thing that I am looking for, and again, it could be a Thursday thing for all I know. Maybe we go, maybe we stay negative today and we continue to push down in the overnight in preparation for FOMC. But a break of 33,755, I'm looking for this to come down to 33,534 with a potential target. It's kind of like target one, target two. It's kind of what I'm looking for here. Um, excuse me, not there yet, but I do think it will get back down there. Right, so keep that on your radar. As far as taking shorts, this zone has been really kind of pushed to the brink. I mean, again, this was a session open trade. If you look to the left, could we use it for a session open again? Yeah, probably. But at this point, I'd be looking at one of these levels a little bit higher if I was going to take another short out of it. Probably up in about that level right there, 34,580 is probably the next kind of, and again, this is a session open kind of base trade. Right? This is kind of a session kind of, hey, listen, we've seen sellers step in, we've seen it protected. When are the big money coming in, right? It's more of a big money type turn area more than anything else, just like what we saw this morning. Okay. So really, I'm looking to get short this one, overtake this parabolic move, really have it retrace back down. So where we go from here, right? So let's jump over currencies. All right, so currencies. Here's where we're at right now. So, earlier today we talked, and again, here's that 8:30 window. We talked about it coming back to the 78. Here's the European session open, right? Here's your European open. Whoops. Let me change this to this. That's fine. Right there. 3 o'clock is right there. Okay, so there's your European Open. Again, went off a zone that we knew was tested in the past. It's continuing to push lower, so I think the two setups on this one is, could you use 78.10? Yeah, you could probably use it one more time, particularly around a session opening, or the Australian news, right? We got the Australian news here, right? Something like this tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Could you use that as a level again if we're able to rally back up? Yep, absolutely. Right, I think it's good for one more probably news release. Although we have we have 3 hits, but I like kind of how this turned and rolled off of it. So you could use that level. You could also use the one just slightly above it as well. Either of these two work for a news-based trade to the downside. Also, the 7766. I feel also has some decent potential. We had a pretty nice run up and then spent a lot of time there, a lot of basing. So in this case, if we're able to come down and break the 7766, I'd be looking for this one to continue to drop lower. And the profit target, the 1 to 3, this is actually a 3.76. The 3 is actually there. So again, well within range. But we want to make sure that we get out of this position before we get down to the 7737. So it's about a 30 pip drop to the downside. Not a bad trade. Risk and 10 to make 30. You know, I think overall, again, we're looking for these to come all the way back down again. I do like buys down here at 76.93. I'm sorry, 76.97, right to the downside. All right. So again, short with a break here, long here, and again, we could potentially base, and I would be okay with this depending on what time we hit as a potential area to go long at 77. So 2 long opportunities, 2 short opportunities, and 1 Harry Potter right in the middle. Aussie yen. So if we continue these across, we talked about 85.10. We talked about 2 levels. We talked about being a little bit more aggressive. We like this zone because of the move. As you can see, here was the European session move right there. there's your European move. And it's been pretty decent. I mean, we knew about the level. It's about 35 pips. Is it the biggest mover today? Nah, not so much. But I think as far as downside targets go, 84.40. Now you can see there's a lot of pink in the background. We are still in this upper region, so we are still kind of more negative. There's been a lot of kind of talk back and forth with China and Australia, kind of a fight back and forth. So again, this is a 4-hour larger time frame, so we're thinking more bearish biased. In kind of the more kind of intraday level, though, this is what we would be using. Where are we at here? It would be to here, right? So again, it's kind of here I'll extend it a little bit more so you guys can see it, right? So this is where it's the dark pink. So we're really liking shorts, especially if prices can get up into 85.36. This is the blue, although it's at the upper reaches of the blue. So we're kind of, large time frame, we're bullish. Small time frame, we're kind of more neutral. But again, we do have some testing back and forth. The 85.10 has been hit a few different times now. I think I would wait for the 85.18 more than anything else. And then on the other side, again, larger time frame, it's kind of a neutral, but in the smaller time frame, it is a buy down here at 84.40. And again, if we can continue to drive down, let's see, how much do we have on this one? About 45 pips, okay? We have a day and a half to go until that news release tomorrow. If we can continue to see weakness in this position, right? If we have continued weakness until here, which is tomorrow night's news, right? That could be a potential long opportunity. Let me check real quick. Forex. This is Aussie yen. That price is at 84.40. To 84. Oh, to 84.29. So there is a knockout bracket with a bottom. It's a little far down there. 84.15. A little far. I think on this one, I'd probably be more willing to go ahead and look at a call spread on this one versus a knockout. So, but it's there. Again, there's your new setup for that one. Kind of see where we go with it. I'll just leave it on there for right now. Okay. But either direction is fine. Again, for a pre-market move. Euro pound. So Euro pound, we were looking for a breakup of 86.30. It literally dinged off. We weren't able to get an entry here. We also talked about this level at 85.83. We said, hey, listen, if we can get short, we've already had it one time. Let's see if we can get in again. And what did it do? It based in there, never gave us the short entry. So it is another probable short. A drop below 85.83, coming down and potentially hitting right down here at 85.47. We talked about buys. Vice versa, if we push up, we did have a piece here that's been touched a couple times, right? We're kind of looking at, forward taking advantage of it. It was the first hit through, so could there be a potential short? Again, Euro pound has got a bunch of different news, but they kind of counterbalance each other each time. But I would say, this is one that I would kind of keep on the radar and say, hey, listen, although it definitely, can definitely take a drop, it hit and got slammed down again. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the next time it does hit, it does that again. But on hit number 3 or hit number 4, when it goes through and breaks, I like this as an entry long when it breaks 86.39 to be able to go up. And again, you guys can see it up there. 86.70 is kind of the profit target that I'm looking at up there, about 40, 50 pips higher. I don't necessarily like pound, shorting pound right now. But again, based off a technical basis, this is what we see. Of the two, whether it's this one or the one lower, I do like this one. I do like the one here lower better than the top one. And again, I'll just extend this all the way across. Like I said, it's not fresh. It's already hit one time, and it's already gone to completion. But I think we're due for one more to the downside as well. Okay. Let me put the profit target on there for that one. Again, your 3-to-1 is coming in right here, right? Even though our profit targets are a little bit lower at 85.47. Okay. Euro yen. So Euro yen pushed up. We had a small level and it hit it and it pulled away. It was about a 1-to-1 base trade. This one hasn't provided a ton of movement. I think right now, I don't have it up here. It's got rather small movement in 24 hours. It just is not, right now, it's just not a big mover. Actually, I'll pull it on a different platform. Yeah, 69 pips and it's slow. Right now we're approaching a daily zone. This red line is coming in where there's daily sellers. So you can see that it's pink. We have daily sellers. Here's the zone. It's a gigantic zone. And you can see the first time it touched it, it did kind of give us a reversal. So this, I guess we can move this across if we really want to kind of front run something in here. There's probably another trade up in here. I would just be cautious with this. We got a lot of news coming in for the euro with all the flash services and the financial stability report. Unlike the pound, I am definitely a pound bull right now. I am not so much of a bull on the euro. I do feel it has a bit more contagion right now with so many different countries and third wave here and controlling it here. The Swift said it's taken longer than expected. Germany's got a third wave. So I do feel that in the future we will have more of an ability to take it long. I feel like right now, again, this is rallying up more for the yen than anything else. But again, I also think that this is one of those situations where no news is good news, right? Well, there's a lot of news coming. There's a lot of news coming. So, um, you know, it's one of those things. As far as being kind of if you are a Nadex kind of intraday trader or day trader, this one is in an area right now that doesn't necessarily meet your style. It's a daily zone. It's huge. There's a lot of sellers sitting up in this area based off of a daily format. We should be looking more to sell, but we just unfortunately don't have a lot of clean recent candles to be able to put tops into this one. So, um, yeah, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the euro yen. Euro dollar. So, as you can see, we had a break late last night of the euro dollar. Again, were we expecting this? Yeah, because here was the original zone. There's push one, there's push two, push three kind of even pushed through just a little bit before kind of retreating. And then you saw a front run. You're like, hey, as soon as this thing bases, go. There was your base before we expected it to break. And again, what did it do? It based, it pulled back very quickly and went higher. So euro dollar is a little bit different than a euro yen, right? We've had kind of extreme dollar weakness this morning. And then once we got the US trader online right around here, that was kind of the peak and we've pushed back. So right now where we are, I wish we had a better top. I would have liked to get this one short. There is a small zone, and again, if you're kind of one of these like I need confirmation on things, here's kind of a small confirmation that you could put in. I don't know what that is. Oh, there it is. It's like why is it doing it that way? Oh nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. I would say that there's probably an opportunity to get this one short. It is a 1 to 4.5 back down to the restart of the move. There's your 3 to 1, and it's bringing you right back to the same level again, right? So I would say that's probably, and again, it's a small trade. We're not talking about anything earth shattering. If you guys don't take this, you're not missing out. It's only about 17 pips to the downside. It's probably more of a futures based trade than anything else, futures or spot, because you're not looking for massive amounts of movement. But it is probably short. I would say, I'd look for this one to retrace back down again. And again, this is how much little movement we've had in it. Um, I would say that this 121.66 is probably a better level to start looking for buys out of. And again, this would just be retracing this parabolic move. We didn't get a clean top. I wish that we did. Not a whole lot we can do about that one, but I'd say right now euro dollar I am more bearish. I do feel that as soon as the FOMC mentions anything about taper or interest rates, I do feel that this one will come crashing down rather fast again. And I'm looking for that one probably to retrace back down to this 121 flat mark. We got about 100 pips to go on that. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right, just making sure that that wasn't for me. All right, so that's where we are with the euro dollar. And again, FOMC is one of those things. This one will react a lot once we hear some type of movement ready to go where the Fed is like, hey, we're going to taper, we're going to raise, we're going to do this, we're going to do it faster than expected. So there's opportunity. There's just not a lot of opportunity right now. All right. But if you guys were looking for this one when it moves, guess what? The European Open, again, here's right there. There's your European Open. So again, you can see where a lot of the movement is based off of for this pair. Now, pound yen. Pound yen had some crazy movement, and we were looking for an area. And again, we had our one touch, and it literally just went straight through and based. You're like, yeah, it's gonna go. We really were looking for this one to come up to 155. We had mentioned it before. We got up to 145.83. We missed it by about 17 pips before it turned and rolled. This one has really gotten ugly since last night. I wouldn't say it was a crazy mover. Most of it was from yesterday's movement. Um, right now, hold on one sec. My neighbor decides that he wants to get the leaf blower out. Just as I open the window, I was like, wait, what are you doing? I need to have like one of those I need to put like a light outside my window that says like on air, don't use leaf blower, but never fails. Hit broadcast, he gets like a notification that says get the leaf blower out. There was small stuff in here, and again, you could draw this one, and people will say, "Well, oh, or are we short?" Not really. I mean, it was a decent top. The European Open was here, and it kind of dropped, but it's really stuck right now. I would say for me, I think waiting for this one to come up to the 155 level. It's a big psychological level. We're 40 pips from it. I think that's where all our targets need to be for anything long. There was kind of a pullback here, but it's been such a small amount of movement. You're talking about, 16, 17 pips. So while it looks like a lot on a chart, it hasn't really been a lot. It's waiting for a catalyst. But again, do we have catalysts for this one? Yeah, sure we do. Look, here's the catalysts for the rest of the week, right? Right here. Friday. Tomorrow, CPI numbers are a catalyst. And again, this has a great opportunity going higher. They're showing the inflation. And again, that could be raising interest rates. And then these retail sales numbers followed by the flash services and flash manufacturing, both supposed to be higher. Big one will be the retail sales and the CPI number. So, definitely some opportunity later this week. I kind of wanted to pull back to a clean level. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And again, could we use this level? Sure. Yeah, we could use it for another one, but we haven't gotten back to it yet. So, you know, like I said, I think that the pound dollar is probably the bigger of the two. So here's European Open. We talked about busting through this level, and we mentioned it earlier. This one came back, and it's having the same chopping back and forth. It's kind of a consolidated amount too. It's about 30 pips, top and bottom. There was a small little position here where if we took the 630 Open, you could have grabbed the U.S. reversal here, but we're not. We're talking about like 15, 20 pips. It's not. It hasn't been enough that even on a 2-hour basis, you'd really be interested in trading it. Um, just like, I feel like 155 is the target. I am looking for this one to come up. I do have an hourly zone up here at I'm sorry, not an hourly, a daily zone at 143.40 to 143.78. I believe if we get great news or anything extremely positive out of the pound, I do see this one going higher. The reason I have this marked off up here is because this is an area up top that we definitely need to be looking for profit taking on a grander scale. I have never worked for the currency department of a bank, but I know people that do that traded the actual bank's accounts. One of the things that I picked up from them in the last 20 years of trading is the guys that trade for the banks kind of know what's going on because they're just enormous accounts, right? One of the things that they inform me of is like, hey, listen, the bank doesn't look at anything lower than a 4-hour chart. Most of it is more, because again, they're looking for kind of bigger time swings. They're not looking for intraday type stuff. Um, 4 hours and above matter, especially in currencies, because again, they're looking for longer term trends. This is one of those levels. Okay, this is a level that we've seen buying and selling on an institutional time frame based level. So again, I want to remain bullish. I want to get in on pullbacks. I want to find places to buy this one, particularly before news and particularly at the UK Open. What I'm looking for is this one to go higher. Once we hit this level, I am going to look for some either profit taking or probably some short kind of, I don't know, short duration type trades to the downside. But again, this is a quite a large area of risk, and I don't have an entry for it yet. So still looking for this to continue to roll and bounce. But I'm looking for up. Yeah, again, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay pound bullish for a while. And again, just looking for opportunities to get in. All right, and you can see it's just been kind of rolling, came back, grabbed big guys, and it just that's what the pound is doing. Right, I feel like they're so much farther ahead than we are. Okay, the CAD. So the CAD has made a crazy rebound this morning. Okay. Now we were pushing down yesterday for my guys. I said, hey, listen, if we get any type of basing in this 120, level, that's why I drew the line. We're looking to go short. I wanted it to go all the way down. It didn't get all the way down to the 119 level. That was a big, again, the larger time frame level that I was talking about. I got one of those in the dollar CAD as well down here at 119.80. I will say 120 is a major, major, major psychological line for the pound CAD. It turned a bit early. It made it down to 120.13. And again, it's probably the front running of this one. Here was your European session open that kind of put the buy in, right? That put the basing in here. And then here was the US Open, right? Kind of shot it back up again. And again, this is just a lot of profit taking is all this is. And it's moved about 60 pips. So it actually should be more like that. Would be to scale with the other chart. And all it did was it pulled us right back into that same level. So this puts us in an interesting scenario or an interesting place right now. Here's why. Again, looking at this, let's pull this off. Let's put CAD on. Here's the CAD news. And unlike the pound that's end of the week, this is in the next 24 hours. Literally every morning. CPI tomorrow. And again, if that CPI comes in higher than expected, That's kind of a raise your interest rate scenario, which means strong CAD. Then we have Macklin talking, also could potentially be strong CAD. Then we have retail sales, which again, they're supposed to be half of what they were before, but still positive. If these are a beat to the top side, also strong CAD. And when we look at this, we just pulled back into a level. I would say that this is one level. If any of these numbers disappoint, I would say we have a higher level here that we're looking to get short. And again, this could also be if we get good FOMC data that, hey, listen, we're going to raise interest rates. Poof, this one goes right up. And then we look for a parabolic move to the downside. But I think that level's decent. And probably this one right here, it's been tested, right? We got a little hit here. We got a little hit here. We could actually probably shrink it into that level. I would say that these are a couple different levels that I'm actually looking to get short this pair, right? Um, I like everything we have going on with this one. I think the only linchpin in this one again is going to be FOMC if they mention tapering, if they mention rising interest, raising interest rates sooner than expected, seeing more inflation than expected, anything that kind of highlights inflation sends this pair up, right? But any of the CAD numbers have the potential to kind of drive this one to the downside. So the CAD has, in my eyes, the CAD probably has the most potential this week for the most amount of movement. All right. And now, again, you may be wondering, well, how I play this, right? I would look at the news releases. I would drop down to the shorter duration binaries. Call spreads are also fine for this one. Again, anything for tomorrow, it's not so much a trade today, but after the Nadex contracts print at 6 p.m. today, that's where I'd start looking and saying, all right, well, where are we at? Maybe I put something in cheap. I mean, maybe from now till tomorrow morning we can rally up. If we can get that's fine. I'll just use this one. Right here. It's funny, right where I put the price tag. Here is the European Open tomorrow. If we can retrace this morning's burst down, if we can travel up from the European Open, could this be a short for tomorrow pre-news? Yeah, it could absolutely be. Right, could absolutely be. And I'll tell you right now, if the Fed says absolutely nothing tomorrow about inflation, it's transitory, it's disappear. We're going to keep the for a long time. Economy's bad, right? Again, that also sends this one straight to the downside. So a lot of opportunity in this one. This is one of those charts that literally we could analyze this every 2 hours or every hour and really kind of start setting if this then that scenarios. But right now, for the rest of the day, I'd say, it's been dollar, retracing. I'd say a little bit of a rollover, but there's a couple areas here that I'm really looking for potential shorts to come in. Okay. Dollar Swiss. Look at this dollar Swiss move. Okay. So, had you been following this one, we've had on for a bit, really back to the 10th as well. So, last week, we were looking for a break of 89.84. Now, this one ended up coming through, gave us a little bit of a pullback and dropped all the way down, just missed the target, came back up and touched. So, had you grabbed the original short or the Harry Potter short, the confirmation, again, it drove down past its 1 to 3. We were looking for profit takers to come in at 89.58. It went well past its 1 to 3. I mean, we were looking for a bit more. It ended up going down to a 1 to 3.5. And again, that's why I focus so much on risk to reward ratios. I need to have at least the 3 to 1s. We got that. It just hit it and it's moving again. I would say at this point, I mean, this level's been hit twice. There is a level just a bit above that one. Um, the Swiss made comments about the dollar today, but nothing really about their own country. I would say that there's a little level in here as well. We may actually see a push through and it grabs the higher level the next time. The dollar Swiss has the potential to move, but there are other pairs out there that will probably move a bit more with FOMC. Okay. If you're in this one, you are out now. Maybe you got in on this next push. I'd be cautious. Okay. If we continue to see this push to the downside, kind of a dollar weakness play from now till FOMC, I do believe that there is, and again, FOMC is coming in right. It's the far one. It would be right here. I would say that has the potential to be a pre-FOMC release to the top side. Okay, you could use a 2 hour, or something on the small, shorter duration on that one. I mean, it's end of day, so it's gonna be shorter duration anyway. But smaller strike width, I think, would be an opportunity for that one. I do feel, put it this way, if the FOMC, and again, maybe this is already baked into the market, if FOMC doesn't mention anything about inflation tomorrow, I honestly don't know. Like, I feel like this was a pre-speech written one like months ago because they got to bring it up. We're seeing it everywhere, right? Everybody's talking about it. It's got to be there. Potential's there. Potential's there. Just it is what it is. Okay. Dollar yen. There was a dollar yen trade. We talk about a break of 109.05. As you can see, it came through. It started kind of really ticking back and forth. And again, had you taken the initial push through, you're golden, right? If you didn't, if you waited for the retracement, again, there was the confirmation, right? Right there. Let's move this aside. There was the touch again. There it is. So two different opportunities to get in. We're waiting for this one to retrace fully back again. I think this one's in the same position, kind of just what I just talked about, right? Let me remove this now. Um, if we can get from where we are now down to this release right there, actually it'd be here, right? That's the last time that we had major buyers, and this was a huge move, right? I mean, we're talking about 100 pips, right? That's a 100 pip move. It took a lot. If we can get down, and again, this could be the same thing. We're going to start tapering. We're going to look at, potentially, we're looking at a time to raise interest rates. That's what sends this sucker flying, right? And again, there's our yen weakness because of the indices, and there's our, our pound, our dollar strength. So kind of the same setup. If we start to kind of stabilize and push higher, I would, again, this level's already gone. We'll leave it as just an area to kind of watch out for. But I would say the next time where there's probably decent selling coming in, where I'd be willing to kind of take another short attempt would probably be up here, right there, at about 109.20-ish level. Um, so there, and again, depending on the timing is when this level comes in. And again, this is a level that we have a base, right? It was a bottom, base, a top. Not so much a top here, but we may get one more, but it could be a level to watch out for in the future. But I think 109.21, 108.71 are the two big areas that we're focusing on there. Let's see. I don't know, I'm just trying to. All right, just making sure everybody was answering the questions. Perfect. All right, so let's jump into everybody's favorite. Look at this, Bitcoin down at 43,500. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me that it's down to 43 because you guys know how Bitcoin is, right? Whenever it goes up $1,000, everybody's a Bitcoin expert. Everybody's talking about, yep, I got more, I got more, I got more. But I haven't heard anybody speak now that it's down like 17 grand in like a week, right? Or $17,000 in a week. I haven't heard anybody speaking, so that's why it's kind of fun. I'm like, oh my god, it's that low, because you don't hear those people talking. All right, let's go to commodities. So, how about that for a commodity? Wow, huge drop in oil, right there. So, if you're new, let me change these to the right colors. So if you guys wonder what all these boxes are on this one. So this is one of those ones that I've been following for a while now. And again, I try to add as much education in these as I possibly can I do everything in these presentations? No. No. Again, if you need more specific data, yeah, you can go to the website. You can find more on this one. Well, we talk about how typically we have one session a day that moves, whether it be the European session or the US session. A lot of times, again, we're seeing days over here where it's the European session is causing most of the movement, right? But again, this US session, European session, US session, US session, European session. This one was almost split us a little bit more here. European session, US session, obviously the US session. So massive amounts of movement, but again, the trend started at the European Open. So right now, and again, we've talked about this 66 level being an area where we have sellers coming in. We got a little bit better of a level up top, but we said 66 was a big level, right? It needed a little bit more and pushed. And again, this is a lot of movement. Let me see how much movement we got today. Wow, $2.92. That's big. Did I miss? Hold on, let me see something here. And again, that happened. That was an 11:30 move. Let's see. I guess actually no. I can do all. Let's filter. I was at 11, so we're talking about 2 hours ago. More global demand. More QE is effective. Nuclear deal expected tomorrow. Let's see. Nuclear talks, significant development announced tomorrow. I suspect it has to do with Iran extending monitoring deal and IE. Huh. That could have been what it was. That's a lot of movement in a very short period of time. Like I said, we were looking for shorts that continue to drop. Never expected that big of a drop, but that's a pretty big mover there, right? As my daughter, she's a big Claudia Vincenza meatballs. Like that's a big mare. That's a big move. Yeah, $3 is quite a large move ahead of time. So, you know, it's in an area and it bounced, kind of in here. Again, I'm not surprised that there's a retracement at that point. Again, this is pretty wild as far as movements go. As far as setting up the oil release tomorrow, so you guys know the way we trade oil is again, it's kind of there's a couple ways. If you guys attended the education seminar or the summit that we did, what, 2 weeks ago now? Last week? 2 weeks? Um, yeah, 2 weeks, right? We talked about the three times that you want to trade oil, right? Particularly oil and gold, are session open, pre release, and then retracement. Okay. This was obviously a session opener move for the day. What we need to do at this point is we need to kind of follow and see where we're at. I would say that there's probably a small level that we could take shorts off of sitting right here, right? And again, we like the 67.40, but it looks like there's another level we can use here at 66.88. And again, that's pretty much the same range. As far as downside goes, there was a small level here, and it literally just went right past it. Oof, I would say that we got a cleaner level here, and I would say, I mean, as far as oil goes, if it continues on this path, I would say that probably, I don't know, there could be a case made if we can get down to there before tomorrow's oil release or oil inventory report. I just feel that, though, at this point, we're going to have a little bit of a hard time getting back. I mean, maybe it's already rolling. Let me see on the 15. Mm, there's a little piece in there. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones that the movements happen for the day. I mean, like I said, this is a huge drop for a pre-day. And I don't see any headlines that I would say, "Up, oh, there you go." That's the reason why right there. But again, a lot of times this is in preparation for kind of what we see for the next day for oil. So wonder if this is sucking out everything for tomorrow. But I would say right now, go check it out tomorrow. We don't need this level anymore. It ended up blowing through that to the downside. We'll remove those. I would say right now, 66.84, 63.42 on the downside would be the two levels that I'm watching out for potential bounces. It's the two tested levels we have. I mean, like I said, there's some profit taking in here, but that's what I watch out for tomorrow. Let's see where we're at. Gold is pretty much flat. Gold is boring. So here is yesterday. We talked about if we could break the 1842. We couldn't. It ended up going straight up at 9 o'clock, and then has done nothing since that time. It busted through a level that we saw and has literally been riding and holding that level. Because it's a parabolic retracement, I would say the same thing if we can get a break of 1861. I'll tell you tomorrow, I'm not surprised with FOMC. If they say that all the inflation is transient, we expect it all to disappear, that we're still deep in the recovery, we still need to help the United States, that's kind of a womp 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 for gold for gold. So that could be the potential catalyst of a drop back down again. As far as a takeoff point, it's all right. I mean, I would say obviously at this point because of this move, we have to acknowledge the fact that there was buyers sitting in this level right here. So maybe if we pushed back down tomorrow, I would say that we're still looking for this break, this profit target. I don't need that. Um, I'll leave that there for now. I would say that here's a potential takeoff point. If we can rally back to the initiation of this move, um, look for a pop over here. And again, FOMC tomorrow is right there. Okay, that would be our FOMC. We could also use it potentially. I mean, if it has the power, I don't know that it will at this point, but that could be the other option right there for a European session move. But I think either of those two are. Actually, I'm sorry, I had that one in the right spot, right there. Okay. But I feel like we'll get some pullback first. To go higher right now, I don't really have a lot. I know we're sitting in a level here, and we kind of have pushed through. Um, like I said, I feel like we'll get a pullback before we have that push higher. Right? If you're going to buy something to go higher, you typically want to get it on sale, not when it's a most expensive price. So I think we are due for a pullback. And silver right now is also flat at 00. Here's that level we talked about again. Look at the spacing. You knew it was going to break, right? You knew it was going to break. Knew it was going to break. Knew it was going to break. Boom! Popped out the top. Had a failure. Came right back. We're in the exact same spot. So I would say again, a couple different breaks in this one. This one's been kind of easier to trade. Let's say there's a takeoff point for tomorrow. With it at 28, we're gonna leave it at 28 right now. I wish I had a top in here that I liked. I don't like a top right now, unfortunately, with this one. mark that off right now. Right there. I would say if we can pull back down in the overnight, again, this would be one of those ones that we come down to here, right? That would be FOMC. And remember, silver kind of moves twice as fast as gold. All right. So I think that gives you the best opportunity as far as tomorrow goes. Like I said, we got a lot. A lot has to happen in the next 24 hours. So that's how it works. All right, guys. So, guys and girls. So, with that said, that's it for today. Mark off next week, Tuesday, May 25th at 10. All right, at 10 at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be back. And again, if you guys are able to, go ahead and watch those Nadex broadcasts. There's been a lot of opportunities out of those things lately. And, again, if you're unfamiliar with something, you guys are more than welcome to email Nadex. You guys can email me as well. If you have questions about something, my email is support@keeptradingsimple.com. You guys all know how to get in touch with Nadex. And again, don't forget, 8:45 to 9 a.m. live every morning. We find the number one opportunities, or what we assume is the number one opportunities for the day. So, love for you guys to join us on then. With that said, I'm out of here. You guys take care and have a good one.